What's up, girl? My name's Jason from MakingStarWars.net. This is my homeboy, Rob. We love you. We're in a boy band. We're gonna sing you a song. Take it, Rob. Sing it.
I'm white.
That's messed up, right? Is it messed up?
I'm white. No, it's not messing up. It's just not gonna work.
No, it's just funny to start a show by saying we're gonna sing you a song and then throwing it to you and being like, go, sing it.
Yeah. Chocolate rain.
Chocolate rain. Yeah.
Love Tay Zonday.
So the rumor is Frank Marshall stopped at a 7-Eleven. He saw some pills called Extends with the Z. And
he got a rectophobia.
Well, he bought him. He meant the party, but he fell asleep. And Kathleen Kennedy came. She was like, candy, Tic Tacs, nummies. And she ate
Doop-cock. That's all she says now.
And she inadvertently extended her contract by 3 years. By doing it. Yeah.
I got friends yesterday who were sending me that story that was going around about how like Ryan Johnson and everyone's Star Wars canceled. See, and IGN reports it. Everyone, I'm like, they're just.
I got canceled.
You can't. Fine. It's all canceled. And then I'm like, and then I sent back 3 years more Kathleen Kennedy, nothing. Yeah. Like, great, they're canceling everything, but you got it for 3 more years, bud. So. Yeah,
that article from yesterday, like, you know, the guy who wrote it, like, he is somebody who worked in the Hollywood system. He was a big editor at a big trade and all that stuff. So it does carry, it does stand to reason that if this person would know people and would be able to hear things that are legit. But there were problems with the actual piece that it, like, once again, that I just can't like overlook, and I think are important in weighing how seriously to take it in totality. Like, it sandwiches in the Game of Thrones guys in between saying that like this happened and then happened, and the Game of Thrones guys, they bounced because they got a huge fucking paycheck. Like, that's not the same as Kathleen Kennedy going like, I don't agree with you. I want to change your movie. No, it was hundreds of millions of dollars, and people at Lucasfilm, when that happened, were like, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that sucks. Oh yeah, though. Yeah, 100. Yeah, like you won the Hollywood lottery. Okay, bye. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they were clashing. The Ryan Johnson thing has been shelved twice by him having other projects that don't meet their window.
Right. Yeah, get money. When you get a lot of money to make like your fun projects that involve no fans attacking you like personally for years and years, you're probably like, I don't like with the Johnson thing. If Disney's still on board and he ain't doing it, I gotta imagine it's because he doesn't want the fucking headache. You blame the fans on that one.
It has been 5 years. So it's like, somebody keeps saying that they're going to do something and it's been 5 years and they haven't done it. It is officially time to give up on them doing it.
Well,
Rob is down to size.
The Rock's Black Adam. The Rock's Black Adam cares to differ, buddy.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Ghostbusters. I'm going to see Ghostbusters 3 this week. So, okay. You know what I mean? Like,
it's what it really is. So.
Yeah, it's Ghostbusters 3. And, so there are things like it.
Also, the Trevorrow bit in that article was weird to me because it was like, and Trevorrow and them didn't get along. I'm like, that's not what happened. Like, I'm certain if Carrie had lived, that's the script they would have shot. Like, I'm certain the whole gotta right around Carrie being dead thing was not something he wanted to do.
I mean, I go back and forth on it because you look at that next draft. And because like the second draft that didn't leak, but I did read and we did break down on the thing. They did deal with it. They did have a way of getting past it. It just didn't get better. But
maybe he just didn't want to do it.
But I mean, it's just one of those things where you're like, everything breaks. You know what I mean?
Apparently. It's ridiculous.
Being a Star Wars fan is like being in an abusive relationship these days.
Jason's like, It's 2017.
Always.
George is like, get the fuck out of here, ruin my marriage.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna roll it back and say it's a little bit like the director is your daddy and he's going out to buy a pack of smokes. and
Right.
And then doesn't come back every time.
What I just want to see stop is them putting out big announcements and then them not happening. Make no announcement like Acolyte, and really in many ways making very little fanfare over Obi-Wan. Just go make it and shut up. But announcing big directors again, like they made a big announcement about the Game of Thrones dudes.
They
when that happened.
Is what sucks. Is like I thought about this last night and I was in the same headspace as you and I agree with you, but Disney is a publicly owned company and they have to.
When your two biggest shareholders are Ike Perlmutter and George Lucas, how much publicly owned are you?
But they do have to they do have to inform people what the money's.
Okay, but don't make a big fanfare about it, bro. Like just inform them. When we have this coming up at the investors meeting, it's when they make a big deal about it and then it goes away, and it happens 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. I mean, like Josh Trank, the fucking all this stuff. Like, I think, my takeaway is Kathleen Kennedy is a good producer, obviously, but when it comes to PR, Lucasfilm has never been good at this. And
their PR is dog shit. It's peer out dog shit. And
nothing's changed.
When what's her name recently retired, I'm sure she's a nice woman. I'm sure she's like really cool. If you're
the chick from Lucasfilm.
Yeah, Lynn Hall. I'm sure like if you it's a Hall or Hill, I can't remember. I think it's Hall. But she'd call me up and just bark at me. Your sources aren't that good. And it was just like, well, then why are you calling me? Every time. And but also like I just had tons of legit people with legit things writing the Lucasfilm PR people for various reasons and just getting ghosted. And then you have somebody who makes a fucking doll of Ezra Bridger as a baby or something. They're like, oh my God, get them on the line. And you're just like, these people don't live in reality sometimes.
Plus, if I have a critique of Kathleen Kennedy, and this is just conjecture, is no basis in actual knowledge, but just an observation, is I feel she's part of an older generation that doesn't understand that this isn't the greatest property in the world right now. It could be, but it isn't. And coasting off past fucking wins don't count 40 years later. Like,
I think we need to break down where the failings were, and the first failing of Kathleen Kennedy, because I honestly don't think she's actually doing a terrible job. It's just that we haven't been fed and we're hungry, so it pisses us off more as fans.
Especially when you see the other elements of that company getting fed. Plenty of Pixar announcements, plenty of Marvel announcements. Marvel is just like, and you're like, anything? They got an X-Men thing. We don't have any fucking thing.
Marvel, like compared to Star Wars, like their kink is feeding people. They're those feeders. And the Marvel fan base is like super fat, going, oh, I'm gonna throw up, but I love it. And then we're like over here going like just getting fat in real life, being like, come on, man, can we just get maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer today?
My buddy just got caught up on Bad Batch, and he's shocked at how the animation has not improved over this many years. He's like, this looks old. Like he's like, this looks like it came out in 2010.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel they're just running everything on the minimalist of budgets. And he's like, but why? I'm like, because they're Star Wars, and I don't know, man. It's like an old mentality with them. It's the old Lucas penny pension. And it's just like, I get it, but you're supposed to be the best, and you don't look the best right now. Like, that's it. So,
well, the original failing of Kathleen Kennedy came from a good place. It was what made Star Wars special and the prequels not. Well, the big difference was a young director came in outside the Hollywood studio system that wasn't boxed in, was sort of a free thinker, was able to go and then take it where it needed to go. And then they immediately went to hire the most establishment dude ever, J.J. Abrams, to make the sequel trilogy. But then on the side fringes, they hired Gareth Edwards and Josh Trank which was following through on the idea of expanding Star Wars, taking it out of where it has been into new places. Then they immediately found that in doing that, it didn't fit the studio mold and it made them nervous, and so that was a huge failing. That was they did not follow through, and then they remade the movie into the form of what was to be expected. So that's a true failing right there. The Force Awakens, not a failing, actually did exactly what they wanted it to do, was remind people of what Star Wars is and how it works. And that's what they did. And then The Last Jedi comes along, is an original film. I think the best one that they have made yet, personally. And controversial. I think that's good, because if you aren't making people think, I think, and if you aren't pushing the boundaries of what Star Wars can be, there you go. But then you have the side stuff where okay, I'm just gonna phone it in now. The young directors don't work. Let's get the Game of Thrones guys while they're super hot, and have them bring some of that Game of Thrones.
I don't think getting Tony Gilroy to help with Rogue One is getting a young director. Even a studio safe option. It's getting someone.
That was the failing. That was them going never mind on what we set out to do.
I get it, but I think to get that talent to help with what they perceived as story issues was a good call. I disagree on that one.
No, I don't disagree. I agree that Rogue One ended up being a good film, and it's ultimately, I'm glad that it exists.
Every Marvel movie has people who come in at the end that even help on reshoots that aren't always the directors. You just don't hear about it.
But Kennedy's mission was, I'm going to get fresh young directors and let them make their Star Wars movies.
Okay, so in that vein, no, you wouldn't got an established dude.
And they went back. Right. They made it into an established film. I would say the Lego guys coming aboard onto Solo was sort of like the middle of the line of that, and they also rescinded that, and then went and got a baby boomer there to come in and fix it and tell us what they think Star Wars is. And so there you go. Right? Like you end up with a bunch of that. And then we have who else did we lose?
I still feel it should have been Ron Howard on episode 9 and JJ Solo. It just, with the way Ron Howard is, has his legacy as a director and his ties to episode 1 and Willow and everything else, and it's just that was the safer of the bets. You would have got someone who really would have, and he's a great character director. He would have really, I think, thought about connections.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It's just, there's a big difference between getting the guy from Happy Days and a young director.
No, that's what I'm saying. The young director was Trevorrow.
Yeah.
That went nowhere.
Yeah,
and it's just getting old. It's just, as a fan of Star Wars, it's getting old hearing about it. Mm-hmm. If every time you turn around, it's look, if you're a fan of DC, you got to be pretty tired of hearing about fucking DC shenanigans. Every time you turn around.
And I would even take it a step further. I don't really feel this deep in my heart or anything like that. But if you're gonna get on the moralistic crusade about this shit, and we're gonna go into the Trevorrow stuff, Carrie Fisher probably shouldn't have been making Star Wars movies, and in her state. And they that was put into motion probably before Kathleen Kennedy had any power in it. But at the same time, Carrie Fisher dying and the Trevorrow film falling apart, I don't really throw that on her lap. I don't really think that's necessarily her fault. And I think,
and there easily could have been a situation where Carrie didn't come back. Seeing as they didn't all three end up together on frame anyway in those films, so you're not losing that, right? it could have been a setup where Leia was dead by episode 7, and that was the thing that ripped the whole family apart and split everyone up on their different. It split Ben up from Luke. It split Han. Like, like what happens when this woman who connected the galaxy goes, passes, and she was really more important than you thought, and it ripped everyone up. So.
And what happens when Kylo doesn't have his mommy to hold him back? There was a lot of stuff there. Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of things that so but I will say the Solo success as a film, as a fun Star Wars film, that it seems to actually really be liked in general, though, for people who've watched it overall. It's pretty safe, and it doesn't take very many risks, and I do like it. I just don't know if I love it yet. I don't know. But
it's got a great little universe style to it, but if I'm gonna watch Han and Chewie adventures, I want to be laughing, having a good. It should be the most Marvel-esque of the series.
I don't know why it looks so dark. Honestly,
I love that cinematographer, the dude.
Me too,
but when they got it for Solo, yeah,
it was the wrong. It was wrong. I thought maybe he was going to branch out on that one, and do something different. But anyways, so but then, but also if we're going to throw the book at old Kathy when we don't like what we're getting, she also let Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni go make The Mandalorian, and she gave them the freedom to do the stories that they wanted to do, and boy was that successful, and boy did that
bringing in Deborah Chow and Fumiya and bringing in fucking
Taika,
and so I have the TV side of it's great. The movie division as a whole, and it's not just Lucasfilm, other than Marvel, the movie division at Disney as a whole fucking sucks. I mean, and I don't even mean that in a joking manner. Like, Dumbo's an unwatchable fucking movie with good talent. Like, why? What's their excuse there? That the Cruella film is just a weird. What are you supposed to root for? It's a fashion movie about a chick who used to wear dogs but doesn't wear dogs now. One day would wear dogs. It's so weird, man. Like,
that all of that shit is just super fucking boring. I watch my kids go, "Oh, I'm going to branch out and try something new," and then they hate it as much as I do. Thankfully,
it's not the company that would make Down and Out in Beverly Hills. It's not that kind of thing. So it's like, it's not even the company that make Big Business at this point. So it feels more like DreamWorks Pictures in a way, where they're like, let's do a live action Shrek now. Like, okay, really? But it's not really live action. Get it? The Lion King Jungle Book thing was the weirdest. I'm a Favreau fan, but when I saw his Jungle Book movie, I'm like, this is Lion King. Like, if you just watch it, it's got the same beats. Kid gets exiled, hangs out with the two animal friends. His mom's at home with the other thing, and then they run it into ruin, and then he's got to come back and stop him. It's Lion King. And so when they're like, we're going to do Lion King, I'm like, you just did that. So, like, what are you what are you going to make?
Those movies are just simply a way to sell something to people something that they've already bought, and to re-merchandise something that people have already bought.
And I feel that's the mentality that's gone into the theatrical side of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed there. And that's Disney top down. So
so I talked to a couple of sources last night and got it reiterated again that nothing really major changed the other day. On Friday, that was what they had planned to do for several weeks now. Before the day, there was no last minute
1 minute. Do you think that is just an excerpt from an 8-minute or like a 5-minute long Obi-Wan thing? Because it feels like it's a truncated clip from a longer making of bit.
I mean, they probably filmed a ton. They probably did make a behind the scenes documentary. I don't know if documentary is the way, but it probably will end up being 10-15 minutes worth of content that we get on Disney Plus or something around it. But yeah, I don't know.
And they had planned to release it behind a paywall.
No, that wasn't the plan. That was because of
Right.
that they fucked up and released it on the internet.
Then
Disney did that. Disney scooped themselves, and then everybody grabbed the video. They removed the video, and then it came out everywhere, from what I understand. And then,
why though? Like,
and then,
why
and
at
then
that
after they
point?
started flagging all the channels, and all these people got their shit deleted, and major channels like Star Wars Only got their Instagram deleted, I believe, amongst others. And they're like, well, let's just put it on Disney Plus. That way, it means we never meant for it to be on the internet. But it's like, you clearly did, I think, if I understand
See,
what happened. Right?
That's where I'm like, well, look, if you're the head of the ship, that's on Kathleen Kennedy's fucking desk, like that's on her.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, the actual overall Disney marketing machine might be the ones who are taking what they're given and then putting it through and handling it. I don't know. That kind of side is a lot more complicated. Like in the past, when I've dealt with Disney and Lucasfilm, Disney has been like, Lucasfilm's fucking crazy. Like that's basically what they say. And then and then Lucasfilm goes like, we didn't know we did that. That's literally my experience with them. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, and the left hand thinks the right hand's crazy. So that's it's the man with two brains. They're a giant Steve.
Well, there has to be a mentality at Lucasfilm, that existed from George on out, and now is like some weird ghost of. Look, I worked for this company for a while.
Yeah.
They're known. Let's just put it this way. They're known for being one of those like Pixar type studios where they're like, we make something until it's perfect. We don't release something until it's perfect. And everyone goes, they make the best stuff. It's worth it. It's worth the years and years and years. And then I saw what that really meant. That maybe that was true 30 years ago. But what that's become now is we just basically waste money and time throwing away things because we can.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's what they're doing, but there has to be some mentality George and them had at the ranch where they're like, we're not Hollywood, we're this different thing, and we're this independent, and we do things on a budget, and we always try to innovate. But then it's become this like parody of itself internally long after all those people are gone. Does that make any sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, the original Lucasfilm was simply George Lucas's will. And so you had a bunch of people who, like, if Lucas didn't like something, or Lucas wanted something, or wanted to push something, then he was God. So there you go. And then post George Lucas, you have a bunch of I don't know. It feels like a little bit of an aimless sailing ship at times. And I don't think that's on the Kathleen Kennedy side. That's more on the people who handle that shit side. And but
when you're the boss, bro, you take the hits and you get the credit. That's how it works.
Yeah,
that's how it works, man.
It is. I find her to be a kind of a fascinating person, in the sense that in her position, it makes it where all the nerds are talking about her, but at the same time, as a producer, like, you'll see Kevin Feige with the shit eating grin and a stupid looking fucking hat on his head that makes you just want to hit it off, like, you fucking nerd. You want to hit it off his stupid head. And then, but Kathleen Kennedy, you don't hear from her. She's like Palpatine in the original Star Wars story, where she became emperor and shut herself away. And then, but it allows for people and media entities to puppet her and make. But
then again, that is on her to not have. To not utilize their Star Wars channels and on YouTube to actually just do something honest and refreshing. I think what people are looking for, the sane fans, not the crazy fucking whatever's out there, they're looking for some form of like pragmatic honesty in a way, in a way that you're getting, like, if George makes something that you don't like, at least George is coming out and saying, but we're doing this now. And then we're going to do it. And then we see it through. And I think as critical as people were of the prequels, in hindsight, compared to what they're getting now, they're like, I would just like that pragmatism, that honesty, and not this like, do I get excited about this or I don't? Because let's be honest, they need the whole thrive is fandom, getting excited about shit. Like that's how you get people to spend $3,000 on cruise tickets, bro. 2-day cruise tickets, 2 days, not around the world.
And it's complicated because on one hand, it's like you want Kathleen Kennedy working. And I know that she's a hard worker like that. I mean, the one thing I do know based off of everything I've ever heard is that that lady works her ass off. So on one hand, you want her working and not worrying about what YouTube is saying about her and being on the Star Wars show. But then they also have that like Star Wars show. And I honestly, I don't want to, shit on anybody who does their job or whatever, right. But I don't get it. I mean, you remember in Big when he's in the thing and he has the giant monsters. I don't get
the building.
Yeah,
it was the building. He's like, why am I playing with the Empire State Building?
The Star Wars show is a building transformer, and I don't get it. And and like so, like it would be a little bit better, but it would be better. But at the same time, when you look at how Lucasfilm used to be, what they ended up doing was literally arming the discourse against them. Everything that they said, everything that they showed about the process was then used to be misconstrued as a reason about why George Lucas sucks now.
Do you know what this all means? It means because you're considered to be the best. So now you have to fucking like step up.
Yeah.
They have to take, look, you're always going to get flack when you're the fucking, I had a friend once who came at me because he felt his religion was being persecuted. I'm like, you're statistically, you're the number one religion in the world. Like, how can you be persecuted if you're number one? Well, they're critical. Like, yeah, when you're number one, people are critical. When you don't count, no one gives a shit to you. Like, that's what happens when you're at the top spot, So, like, they are considered to be, Star Wars is considered to be one of the last, like, royalty of Hollywood. Right? No one goes, them Star Wars movies is what's ruining Hollywood. They say comic book movies, right? Like, so Star Wars is still seen as one of the original blockbusters, changed everything. You're seen like the Gone with the Wind of fucking genre filmmaking.
Yeah.
But like, not that it's a great movie, but you understand what I mean, the royalty of it, So you have to fucking lead. You can't hide in the back room and kind of put stuff out and try to avoid confrontation. That's just not the way it works. Pixar went through this transition when Cars came out. They went through that, they're not the best. They made a movie most people don't fucking like, but it sold a bunch of fucking toys. And then the fans have to go and feel like, I gotta defend it because it's made for kids. And it's like, look, you can't make a super winner every time, but you can't fucking hide. You don't get to up by hiding in the back and fucking trying to figure out how to Buzz Lightyear your way through every fucking movie.
Right.
Or you don't get to Soul that way either. You don't get to, like, they have to, they have to take charge and actually say, look, creatively, we're going to do some different shit. And that's where Kathleen Kennedy becomes the target because she has to go in front and go, we're going to do something different. So if you don't like Eternals, well, you know who you can blame? You blame what? Kevin Feige, you fucked up. Right, because Kevin Feige stands in front of everyone and goes, this is what I wanted to make. You didn't like it? Oh, well, we're not going to do it every time, but this time we're doing this. And they don't do that. They hide behind weird PR announcements on a fucking Sunday,
No, and or they just never say anything at all.
Never say anything, right?
And that's usually what they do. That's usually the right way to. That's usually the right way to handle these people.
I hear you, but
no, and when you look at like that the big article, the one that's also behind the paywall, so I don't think I finished it. I could have like paid or like so I was like fuck it, fuck this. Just put some fucking turkey ads on there for Thanksgiving and let me read the article.
I'll leave the ad blocker off.
But anyways, as I am reading it, it's like I just noticed that this like huge like fundamental contradiction that tells me there's something more to the narrative and that the narrative isn't exactly right. Because the narrative that's being spun in the article is the committee is killing the little guy and killing the films. But if the committee was that hard and had everything so worked out, they would just be like, oh, you quit, Patty Jenkins? See you later, asshole. All right, here we go. Now we got Skatey Blankins. Skitty Blinkins is now directing the Patty Jenkins movie. It would be that simple of a thing. They would have so many desires and so many like demands on there. And I just don't think it actually, I don't think it the math doesn't add up for me on that part of it. It's like on some aspect, they're giving too much control to these people, and then to the creatives, to the individual director, writer. And then on the other side, they are going the complete other way, and it just does not make any sense to me. Does that add up for you? I mean,
I understand what you're saying, and I agree. In that, okay, like the way I try to think about it is this way: you're covering episode 9, right, and you literally are getting footage, images. Like, think about all the footage we've seen on this show for Indy 5. We have seen more than 99% of all the fans out there, right? For Indy. They don't even know. Now, we've seen this footage. And it's like us trying to ascertain the story by seeing this footage is impossible. Yeah. It's impossible to conjecture. We could theorize, well, I think this and that, but it never rings true. It never actually goes that way. When you see all the stuff you saw on episode 9, you would not have been able to go, well, here's the story beat for beat, and it goes like this and that. You even with when you see things, you're unable to really infer what the proper path through the story is. So when we're talking about, and that's with concrete visuals, when you're talking about hearsay in a room or between private emails or phone conversations between an agent right, and the head of a studio, or their subordinates who cover the fucking meeting because they didn't actually go, because they're Boardwalk Empire in it. They send the little guy over. Like, it's a third removed from a person who doesn't even know, when they report back to the person in charge, why that person made a decision anyway. Like, you don't, like, I gotta imagine, is this coming from like the assistant's fucking assistant, it's impossible to conjecture what that is. Your analysis of saying, well, if there was a committee that, like the old Star, like the MCU had that story committee, which was really because Ike Perlmutter wanted New York involved in these West Coast movies on some level. So they created a gatekeeping scenario that was like, we're gonna have a story group, and they're gonna be the ones that approve your scripts to make sure they're working. Led to really generic decisions that culminated in Civil War breaking out of that, and Ike and them being removed and dissolved, and Feige running everything. I don't think that's the situation. I don't hear Kathleen Kennedy had issues with the story group. It's directors come in and find out they can't do what they want with Star Wars. And by the way, we've been hearing about that since West End Games. Like, there is nothing new about when you realize, oh, I can't tell things of fun or real meaning in Star Wars because they got all these rules. That is something George set up 30 fucking plus years ago when you licensed Star Wars. And I gotta think that mentality is what they're talking about. And I think there's always, does it have to be the Force? Does it have to just be them? Or does it have to be this? Could it be this?
But we don't actually know that we don't know for certain that if that's what they're dealing with. Right. For what it's worth, we don't know. We know that in licensing and in video game stuff, and probably in the cartoons. But see,
when people hear story group, they think there's a group of people that were really committed to helping you tell their story, and they know all the ins and outs. That's not what that means. It's like when you hear human resources is not there for you; it's there to protect the company. A lot of times, these story groups are there to like, they act almost like licensors in that they give you a bunch of things you can't do, and they're making sure you aren't taking their brand in an area they don't want to go in.
There is some of that. Like, for instance, Pablo Hidalgo used to be the brand manager, and he became part of the story group, and that person literally does that. And what's his name? Matt Martin essentially does stuff like that. And Leland Chi is the guy who knows all of the, and Pablo probably to some extent know all of the canon and the continuity about what those things mean. But then you also have people like Rain Roberts who are like, what if Luke Skywalker isn't in the movie and he comes at the very end and nobody knows why? And then they use that. So we can see that there are, number one, there are way more people on the Lucasfilm story group than people know about and realize. And I'll never talk about who they are because it will just arm the fakers with what, like, once they find out what their name, Carrie something. Once they find out her name, then Carrie is going to war. It was ridiculous. It was that could have been.
When I hear Michelle Rejuan's name being dropped in these articles, I'm like, oh fuck, dude. You know what I mean? Are they harassing her now?
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah. But Bridging the Geekdom says, again, there needs to be a story group in which the filmmaker joins and they work together on what the story will be. And you literally had that with Rian Johnson. That is literally what happened. That was the situation with Rian Johnson, and it even led to the books that led into The Last Jedi. And it led to Rian Johnson working on the novelization of the film so that the author of the novel's intentions were in line with the director.
See, Geekdom's assuming they're going to conjure up the story Geekdom wants to watch.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when Ryan conjures up the story you're not interested in?
Yeah.
Then you're like, the story group ain't working. Like, no, that's the difference between your opinion and the quality. That I'm not saying. Look, it's very difficult to say there's one way to do something, and that's the proper way to do it. Because if there was one way to do it with a guaranteed result every time, do you think these studios would not be doing that every fucking time? Right. You know, like, there's no one way. Sometimes you need an auteur who has a singular vision to see that through. Sometimes you need a group, like animation group, to help you Pete Doctor your way through fucking Toy Story 3 to get something that you could never fucking arrive at with one individual. It depends on the project and what they decide to make. They have to decide. The biggest thing I've learned with corporations and IP is when they are unwilling to make decisions, you end up in this fucking purgatory loop where people are just spinning around making things, but no one wants to make the decision to say, this is what we're doing. And I know you think that's easy. I just say I'm going to make it. It's not easy because these people have never had millions of fans coming after them when they make a decision you don't agree with. When George says, I'm going to do a prequel series and it's going to be about a little itty bitty Anakin missing his mom, do you know he has to accept that fucking hit, you know, like, and people don't want to do it.
Well, you know, as Bridging the Geekdom's lawyer, I am here to defend him and say, not at all, Rob. The way it appears is there's no direction right now. You said it yourself. Big announcements with no follow through. That's what I want fixed.
And, I'm just taking devil's advocate too.
Yeah, I know. I do. I mean, I don't know how deep, you know, this stuff ends up going or how complicated it is when one person starts a project and then they take it and give it to somebody else. But I do think that I don't understand for the life of me why Patty Jenkins is the only one who can make a Rogue Squadron movie. I don't fucking. It's a great PR moment that Daddy was a fighter pilot. I wanted to see her make the movie. I wish she had made the movie, but at the end of the day, I don't get why there's. In fact, I don't get it because anybody else can make the Rogue fucking Squadron movie. It's just that simple. So why
the only film I've seen so far that only that person would have conjured up was The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, like, say what you want. I never would have seen those decisions coming from a story. Like, that is, so whether you love the film or not, that is one dude conjuring up a vision and seeing it through, you know, like.
Well, no, and I don't understand. And that's the thing that I don't buy about those articles where they were saying that Rian Johnson's trilogy was ruined by committee. I actually don't believe that. They seem to respect and adore that dude so much that I think he would have an easier time than most getting his ideas passed through with trust. And I don't think that I'm obviously, this is what I think, not what I know, but I don't feel like original new content with new characters in a new setting is going to go under the same kind of scrutiny as bringing in Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia. You know what I mean? I just don't think, or even Grogu at this point. And so that's where I'm not really buying some of that article. In the past, for what it's worth, like some, I can't remember what they were called, like the Dude Bros or something like that, was like Ryan Johnson's fired. And then Ryan Johnson came out and said, no disrespect to the bro dudes, but I'm not, and it's still in development. And so far, I think that it's literally has been scheduling. I don't even know if it's nefarious as much as like, I have an idea for this movie called Knives Out. I really want to do it. Oh, now Knives Out is a success. Now I'm going to do another Knives Out. You know what I mean? And it's like, and the Star Wars project can wait. And the Star Wars project, like okay, on the Patty Jenkins thing, this is what I wanted to get to. One of the things that I gathered from last night was, I don't know for certain if there was creative differences. My sources couldn't say. They're like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, there always is something, right? But what that's literally what they said. And but what they went on to say was that there was a very specific window for a movie like Rogue Squadron. And they basically don't want Rogue Squadron to come out in the middle of another series. And if Rogue Squadron gets pushed, other people's movies are coming that year and the year after or whatever. And then you also have the Avatar bullshit and having to rearrange everything for movies. Like right now, it's a huge headache with how they're going to release the TV shows because they don't want overlap between Marvel and Star Wars. And they got to put little baby Willow in there somewhere. And nobody knows, how to do some of this stuff yet. But that's what basically Rogue Squadron had a time in the timeline of when it was a real possibility. And it looks like that may have passed for the immediate future,
right?
With them not making the window and things not progressing how they needed it to, and with Wonder Woman 3 coming on the slate, I think also complicates things in that way too, because they could have just made the movie and sat on it for a little bit and released it in a window that made sense for them. But that's apparently not happening. I hope most of what we're hearing has been sort of false. And based off of how the last couple of weeks have gone, where I mean like there's a reason I generally in the past like didn't cover the stuff on my site or on this show, which I just consider to be the same thing now, is that if I can't go and get it verified, I don't know who I could trust. And I know a lot of the people in the quote game have shit for brains. And I don't really like to
all the ones who knew for certain what Disney Plus was going to reveal the future of Star Wars.
Like there was the joke made earlier about it being the red wedding for scoopers, and I was like, there was really only one legitimate scooper in there saying anything. I think it was Griffin Campbell said Disney Plus Day was like the red wedding for scoopers, and it was like I didn't see Bespin Bolton get any egg on his face that day. I didn't get any on my face because we weren't hearing shit, so we kept our fucking mouths shut. It was one person who got something wrong that legitimately had something right, and then a bunch of co-opters. That's just the fucking truth of the matter. They could all get mad at me. They probably already hate me anyway. So it's like, who gives a fuck? But I mean, that's what you have today. You have, I mean, for what it's worth as well, like look at what we talked about on one day, like on a Monday, we talk about this topic. On Tuesday, oh, I'm hearing this because they watched the show and then they read into the alliance. I saw one scooper go out and go, I'm going to put this out before he can because he's a dick bag or something like that. And then they put out a bunch of stuff, and then they go, I'm not a scooper. I don't want to be a scooper. You want to know why you don't want to be a scooper? Want to know why you don't want to be a scooper? Because your one source is a person at PR who sometimes goes, I'm not under NDA for Star Wars. I don't really know. I'm hearing that they're going to do this though. And then looking at the trades and then reducing it down to no shit stuff.
Even now, bro, I want to say at least once every other week, right? It's not that often, but I get it at least a couple times a month now, and it's increased. Where I get people sending me a note on Instagram or on Facebook. Now, hey man, just so you know, I've been hearing things about this and that. As if I'm gonna come on here and be like, so I got the word. I've been hearing, like, I don't fucking care. Tell that to Jason. I'm just here for the snarky commentary and the unbridled enthusiasm when I see concept art that looks like Macquarie's artwork and it come to life. Like, that's when you get like I geek out. Like when I see Vader on the throne, I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Super excited about it. But yeah, like it's just funny how everyone wants to have those. They want to have that. It's like, you ever watch a movie and the person next to you has already seen it, but they want to tell you, no, pay attention here. Pay attention here.
Here it comes. This is what Anakin's 8. Look, watch. He's 8 now. He's 8 years old.
Yeah, it annoys the shit out of me. Like, I'm like, if you talk again, I'll kill you. Like shut up. Yeah. Like who cares, man? Like, when Geek is like, oh, I'm agreeing. You said you wanted them to wait. Yeah, I want them to make the big announcement when they're already shooting the fucking thing. When they're knee deep in fucking, they got casting. They're ready to unveil the whole fucking cast, bring everyone out, and here's the whole fucking crew is what we're gonna do. It's just,
I just don't think that is possible. I really don't. Well, with it being a publicly held company, and then with the fact
Marvel does it though. Marvel does it. They bring out. Remember, they brought out the whole fucking set of Eternals right before Pandy and Chloe Zhao and everyone on stage. Yeah. Before that, it was a logo. It wasn't a fucking announcement with Chloe Zhao walking down the fucking beach.
But that's the. But I think that is the difference. Is that they have a project designed for the interconnectivity of these things, and if Chloe Zhao said "Zhaoza" and left, then they would just get somebody else. You know what I mean?
All I hear is Mauser from Captain Mauser from Police Academy 2, where he's in the shower. Yeah. Zhaoza, oh yeah. I know I'm old, but fuck him. Like,
I agree with James in the sense that I think James dropped a really good quote. I can't remember what it was now, but about it basically, fans don't know what they want or what they need. They mostly make associations with intellectual properties, and then they say, there it is. I know him. He's the blue guy from the book when I was 11. I loved that book where the blue guy was the bad guy after the Darth Vader was the dead dude. And it's like, it's not really very deep. They should put the blue guy and make the blue guy the bad guy.
Talking about Thrawn.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's like, you do need that's why
look. Yeah. The cream rises to the top, okay? People remember Thrawn, and they don't remember one villain from Tales of the Jedi for a reason. He was different and unique enough to not be a variant of Vader. You know what I mean? Or the Emperor. And then later when you see, that's why Darth Maul, the shame of Darth Maul is that you get these other guys who, now we got a guy who has 6-second lightsabers. It's like, no, just the Darth Maul was the better fucking visual. You know,
he's horny all the time.
So, and he's got big ears. He'll take shit, which I appreciate, by the way. Like,
I wear these
because this is not an intimidating face.
I wear these so you can't see my little baby ears.
This is almost a Norm Macdonald like, squinty face.
Okay, thank you, James. If I ask my customers what they want, they'd say a faster horse. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's definitely frustrating that what I think they should do realistically is commit to the projects, and if the creatives leave, then replace the creatives with new ones and continue the project forward.
Which is what they've done in the past, to be fair.
They did with Solo and Rogue One, but they were already
both those turned out. One turned out great. The other one turned out good. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
and it completely failed with Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
it's a failure. It's a failure of a film.
Yeah, and for me, Rise of Skywalker is a huge disappointment. It makes me a little frustrated, a little bit sad, but I will say
the worst name ever.
Yeah, that's true too. You know, it's up there with. Well, I think it mirrors. I think.
Horrible.
Sorry, I'm knocking my camera down. I think it rhymes with Kathleen Kennedy extending. It's
Kathleen Kennedy extends
and her extending.
Rise of the Skywalkers would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Again, like Ronin, they walk the sky, going to the will of the Force. There will be no order. I just fucking waste of an opportunity of a film. It's a waste of an opportunity of a film.
They should have introduced Luke Ayahuasca in that one too. He would have been cool.
Yeah. Same with Batman v Superman. Waste of an opportunity of a film.
Yeah.
Just a colossal waste of talent. Bummer.
Yeah, and effort and time and
and dude, remember that movie was delayed a year. People forget BVS was delayed a year because they got to get the visual effects up and set it up for Justice League. And I'm watching a CGI car chase that looks like they legitimately capture footage from Arkham Asylum or Arkham City. Whatever.
Palpamemes tweeted this one out today, and it was pretty funny. He pointed out that Frank Marshall retweeted it.
So good.
It's Eric Vespa saying,
it's awesome.
How could this be? A bunch of sputtering mad YouTube randos with walls of Funkos behind them said their uncle's cousin's roommate works for Lucasfilm and her Kennedy was on her way out.
Poor Funko.
And Frank Marshall's like, you don't mess with my lady.
You're the worst toy company I've ever heard of, but you had heard of us. Mm-hmm. You have heard of us.
And then, all right.
Hey.
How's it going? My name is Jason. Do you like Funko Pops? Because you can have all my.
Look, guys, I'm going to do something that's really misogynistic, but just bear with me because I'm a dork, right?
Yeah.
Hey, baby.
But promoting Book of Boba Fett this week, it's nice to wear makeup again. So it looks like they are about to start to do Book of Boba stuff. What I am hoping that this amounts to are TV spots. Personally,
tone poems.
Daddy's dead. He's never coming home. Me in hole, out vagina, out of space vagina. Me, daddy now.
Extended 3 years.
Jabba the Hutt, part 2.
Frank Marshall retweeting. Daddy's getting laid tonight, Mm-hmm. You think she comes home and goes, like, remember the Chun Yao Fat, like when he leans out the fucking.
I honestly think it's weirder than that. I think she like has a box and Frank's like in a fucking bathrobe with like his chest hair out, like the golden, like it's like a gold kind of robe. He's actually wearing the Snoke robe. He's wearing the actual Snoke robe. And then he's like, and then Frank's like, what are we gonna do on tonight? And then she pulls out the 2 smoldering carcasses of Beru and Uncle Owen and put it on there. And then I'm gonna let you guys figure out what happened after that. But yeah.
Snoke from the planet Xanadu. Sure. He's very elaborate, very ornate culture,
It's like they're all. Does it seem odd though? Every time something negative about Star Wars is making the rounds, Disney announces Kathy is extended. Maybe we need
that is
reverse psychology.
Excellent observation, Geekdoms.
Yeah.
That is almost like, you remember whenever DC would drop something, then Marvel would spontaneously have a trailer that following Monday for something.
Yeah.
There was like a time when that was overlapping for whatever reason. And they're like, they're taking our thunder.
Like truth of this stuff is, and this is kind of an ironic thing, is the Kathleen Kennedy, the formalization of her being extended. It happened back during the Rogue Squadron stuff when they were moving forward, and then the next slate of films, which was Rogue Squadron and Indiana Jones and so on, and the television shows that were, Willow and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Cassian and all that, where we're like getting going, and now here we are. But when the shit hits the fan for us, it's already hit the fan like weeks, if not months ago, there. And like when Rob was going, nothing's going on with this movie, and we weren't hearing about there being anything more going on over there and at Pinewood that made us think the movie was going to be made. I'd ask questions and I wasn't really getting any like, hey, we're doing prep work or any of that. There was really nothing. And Rob was
not
like,
one casting announced leak, not a peer. Normally these, like, if you just look, I don't like fan math. You know how I feel about it. I've watched fans try to calculate. I've watched fans try to calculate the time frame on projects I worked on, and I'm like, that's not how it works, However, there's the difference is I never worked on a project where they said, oh, it's coming out this date. Because once you say it's coming out on this date, then you do have this like approaching window of like, this is going to get way more difficult. Like there has to be a certain point where they start announcing, or you hear things because casting sheets get leaked, everyone's excited and nothing like.
Fan math with Professor Rob.
Yeah, I know. And you don't want to see my math scores. Decent at geometry, but horrible at algebra. Like just straight up horrible. Like couldn't even. Yeah. So, but yeah, this is there, and I'm like, nothing. Like you would think by now, with as many. Because those casting sheets where they give code names, everyone gets that shit. And they're always leaking. And nothing? Like, it's odd. Not one screenwriter's come out to talk about something somewhere. Like,
and I knew like Casting Collective and the various other places like that who do extras and stuff weren't getting anything. I thought, well, maybe they're all on spaceships and they really just, doesn't matter. I don't know.
Or it's just not happening.
Or it's just not happening, I guess.
And that's what makes me think it's when, if I had to guess, that shuffle was them losing the Star Wars slot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think happened. I think, based off of a conversation that I had or two, I think they missed their window. And I think that there is something that's going to be a series that is about to start as well, and it can't. Yeah. They don't want to put that movie in between a series. They just don't want to do it, and I get why.
Yeah. So don't expect theatrical Star Wars till either they move it to May of 2024 or till Christmas of 2025. Like, just let it go. It's going to be. And for the people who were like, Star Wars needs to be TV, well, you're going to get that for quite the while.
Yeah, and I will say, I think that's the other side of the other perspective that I think people really need to. This is fan math that I think people should be doing. Is when you look at the amount of hours of Star Wars you're going to be getting from December to December of starting this December on forward. It's almost more Star Wars than you've ever got in the totality of your life in terms of live action.
Right.
And so it's not like nothing is happening. It's not like nothing is coming out. It's not like they weren't doing anything this whole time. It just means in 2023, you're going to save yourself a couple of dollars going to the movies. Unfortunately or fortunately, because honestly, if the movie wasn't going to, if what they're saying was true, and if they weren't having a positive collaboration, then I'm glad it's not happening, because it wasn't going to be good.
I tried to ignore this for the last 30 minutes. I can't do it.
You gotta do it when you gotta do it, Rob. And I suggest that you burp in the microphone instead of muting it. Stop disrespecting our audience.
No, you know what it is I've always had this problem when I speak. I get phlegmy. So like if I ever have to do public speaking, I have to take like a really hot shower before, and literally drink nothing for 24 hours. So it's why I could never be an actor. I have this thing, so
I gave my best talk. It was a paper at a pop culture conference, and I was so hungover I was about to throw up on stage, and I had the vomit almost coming up, so I was speaking really slowly, and it turns out it was the best I ever did because I slowed the fuck down.
Slowing down, man. Learning not to talk fast is certainly a talent, especially if you grew up in a house where if you didn't say something fast, you got ran over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like either your family has ADHD or they don't want to hear it. Mark Hamilton says, do you believe the theory that Lucasfilm put out disinformation about Disney Plus Day to try and find leakers? No, absolutely not even a little bit. Like, anybody who has said that is so off base, and it's the most outlandish thing I can think of. I honestly, not to pick on you, Mark Hamilton Jr., but it's just that is absurd. What they actually would, if they were to do something like that, they would go and they would actually leak certain elements of truth. You see, whenever like even with like the UFO stuff, there's always an element of truth with the disinfo, and then you're able to figure out who leaked the legitimate info and have just cause to get them, and also what was the unique piece of bullshit that got around that only that department or person had. That just simply isn't the case. The truth is that if they know, well, I mean, look at Rise of Skywalker. I was putting out legit shit, and people didn't believe it, even though I was legit like a bajillion times before that now. And they don't have to do it. They just simply don't. They usually have some clear ideas of where their leaks are coming from in general, but at the same time, they kind of create their leaks, which is the hilarious part about it. But
when they put their fucking trailer up on their own website and then get mad when people repost it, that's the point where I'm like, let it go. What hubris? What hubris goes, I'm going to shut down all this size for shit we put. It's not like someone stole it and passed it on the internet and all the fans are, you leaked your own shit, let it go. We had that problem on Crash. Someone left something in the coding of the site and they managed to extract it. And then they were like, we got to leak. No one talk. And then they're like, oh, it's us. Oh, our bad, because we leaked ourselves, like, let it go. But it's one of those things where they're not letting it go. They're like, no, we're going to shut down all these sites for putting it up, and we're going to put it behind a paywall just to prove, like, just stop.
I know that, Mark. I know you're very level-headed. I'm going to quote the late great Han Solo of the Force doesn't work that way. That's just the truth on that one.
It's a good line.
Yeah, no, the times that it, that the times that they've tried to find their leakers, like I said, one time it was hilarious, but I usually, and like I said, I don't know, but I don't leak, I squirt, and I stand by that.
Yeah.
So
when they see certain, let's say, Grandolphs out there, I'm sure Lucasfilm's quivering in their boots with the leaks, like, they know.
Griffin, we do a UFO show every couple Saturdays every now and then. It's been fascinating stuff lately, by the way. That's a rabbit hole.
Somewhere in the Skies, by the way, has been killing it the last few episodes, man.
That's one of the best podcasts. Theories of Everything with Kurt Jamingle, I think that's how you say his last name.
Yeah,
he has the best interviews that there are. They're a bit educational, and but I appreciate it the most. But I would say if you really want to go down the UFO rabbit holes, just start going and looking up Elizondo interviews and watch all of the Luis Elizondo interviews, and that's where you'll be like, okay, reality is crazy. And hello, Max. I've been meaning to text Max back. I have been a bad friend and I have not texted her back, but I'm going to say, hi, Max. Sorry, I didn't text you back. Got really busy with projects this week and I'm stupid. So anyways, but yeah, what else was there? Oh yeah. So there was this other thing that I am of the opinion and mindset that the old Republic or the High Republic sucks donkey dick and is the opposite of being high, which is fun.
I just call it milk toast.
Milk toast, yeah.
It has the potential visually to be stunning on film if they leaned into like the Art Nouveau, but when the one that gets me is when they put up a piece of art and the backgrounds are just like Greek temples. I'm like, that's the best you got? Like that's the best you got.
I'm totally with you. And that's where I think a lot of the problem therein lies, is that the visuals suck, but they haven't really done anything with it in a major way on a visual level. The comic books so far are just pretty much, to me, garbage. As
with most their Star Wars comic books, to be fair.
No, more so.
Okay. To be fair, I haven't. I think the first one I read, I was like, I don't know.
So my true take on the High Republic is, none of it has really mattered, but the Quantic Dream video game company are making a High Republic game, and Acolyte,
David Cage's company, Quantic Dream.
David Cage.
So David Cage he's like the dude who runs it. He's like the George Lucas of this. He's this guy who's been wanting to do realistic CGI. They're point and click adventure games essentially, where you just get more choices. So his first real game that I took notice of was a game called Hard Rain. Which I was like, I actually liked it, but it was so buggy. I kept crashing the game 30 minutes in. Like I could never get past it. But he's made more games since then. I think those last series again, some people really, really liked. I didn't play them though. Like I forget what they're called. I'll look it up.
It's not going to turn out his name is Kage, is it?
Detroit Become Human was the last series.
Rick Jones, the High Republic is the Christian rock of science fiction.
Thank you. I told you it reminded me of when you go in. No, I said it was the last time we talked about this. I said it's like when you go into a Christian bookstore and it's their version of Star Wars. I said just like when you see their version of like superheroes and it's Bible Man and shit. Like it's the same thing. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I feel like it may not. I feel like once we get to this next stage of the game, which will actually be like, here it is, guys, and not concept art of things. Like I said, like most of the shit we see and it looks all stupid, it'll say like concept art on it. And as like they'll be like, we got a new concept art now. Now we know what Rom Flickflar looks like, and I'm just like, don't give a fuck, don't know who that is.
And that all changes the minute someone actually makes a fucking movie and go, no, no, they'll keep it. No,
they'll make it. Okay, like for instance, there is in the Old Republic MMO. When you were the Jedi and you got a certain level in it, there was a white Jedi Knight outfit for a Jedi. It looked badass. It actually kicks this thing's ass, which is what makes me laugh because it came out before. Like they were supposed to be building on something. But I'm hoping, and for the other side of it, in VR, when you do the dark side stuff in the Yoda story, where you're like the lady who's turned to the dark side, and you're doing that stuff during it, that stuff all looked good. It did. And that was the stuff that was actually designed, you know what I mean? Like people at the Ryan Church level of design are working on it at that point, and the stuff looked good. And so I have faith in the High Republic getting a lot better, and then that being a bunch of stuff that's for like the hardcore nerds that just consume everything to love.
Not to pun it, but it's cagey with Cage. Detroit Become Human, it becomes very pretentious.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is kind of like the thing. Will this become more pretentious stuff where it takes itself almost too seriously?
Yeah.
Or will it be high adventure? Like, I would like high adventure. I don't really want a bunch of walking through the libraries with Jocasta New fucking like deep fucking gotta figure out the holocron fucking puzzle to unlock another conversation.
Jocasta New. We need to figure out the space Dewey Decimal System.
Rob was the model for Kyle Katarn. Bro, I'm the shitty 3D model for Dash Rendar on Nintendo 64. the big polygonal nose and like that's my opinion of me.
Yeah. Like I said, the game when it comes to games, like I like, what's that game called? The Fallen Order. I like Fallen Order a lot better than in that world, a lot more than I thought I would. But I honestly like the story beats the character to me. I don't really care about Cal Kestis that much. I really kind of don't give a shit. And the stuff like with his master, but like the organizational side of it, like with the Inquisitors and stuff like that, and that the stuff was kind of interesting, and how they dealt with the last Night Sister. That was also interesting.
If they had a system to let you design your own character, it would probably be my favorite Star Wars game since the older days. Like, it's just I don't like being stuck with the lead character I don't care for.
Yeah.
Let me change the alien, human, race, gender, whatever you want.
Like, I want to be Bucko Williams.
Space what adventure. If I want to be Bucko Williams? What if I want to be Toby? What if I want to be some? Let me just pick the character. I don't care if it makes sense continuity or not. It's just that another fucking generic white dude is. I'm not interested in it. You know?
Yeah. I'm not. I in video games do prefer usually to make my own character, unless it's exceptional, like Red Dead Redemption. You know, that's where I'm like, oh, okay, you guys have it right.
Even then, you could have made your own character. There's no reason to look the way he looks. You could have designed your own. You could have the default could be what they want you to play it as. Default does this, but look, this is AAA gaming, and you know, if you want to make fucking low end gaming with Star Wars, fine. Make Super The Last Jedi, and Super Rise of Skywalker.
Gaming, you never know if you're going to get a flat tire and when you're going to need it.
See what you did there. Their premiums are high. But like, I
don't have
their maps suck. But that's the thing. Like it's a AAA fucking game. So like, we live in an age where Skyrim now is like fucking 10 years old. So just let me fucking make my own character.
But you're saying no more Skyrim jobs.
Yeah, I know. That old. It's the Pacific Rim job, the Skyrim job. That's your Kevin Smith grin right there. Okay. You did it legitimately. I love it.
Yeah.
Anytime he does it in a movie, it gets me. I'm like, he's good at that. That's a good move.
Yeah, and I don't play video games enough. Like I'm not I play video games daily, but I'm not such a gamer that I'm like buying every hot game that comes out. I'm like, yeah, we'll see if I need it. You know, I like the games I'm right now. I'm replaying Red Dead Redemption, and I'm playing Fortnite. Like I kind of like that's how I do it. And so I haven't played any of these other games. So I kind of like it though, that the fact that I don't have any expectations of it. Like I'm not expecting this. Like if Rockstar was making a Star Wars game, Now I'm expecting it to be Grand Theft Auto 5, 4, 5, and Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2 all in one Star Wars game. And I'm not bringing any of that to this, I'm just like, okay, what's this going to be? And I'm going to play it when it comes out and take it on its own merit and hope that.
But these aren't mascot games, and I never felt Star Wars should be a mascot game. Where in like a Legend of Zelda's tied. Like a mascot game is where you literally have a character who could become the voice or image of your company. So like when you design Legend of Zelda, Link is a mascot. He's got a hat and a fuzzy cape and pink hair or blonde hair, depending on the game.
Link's a boy?
Yeah, Link had pink hair. And
I always thought that was a hot little girl. Oh,
I know,
weird.
but it's the legend. Why even Zelda with Link? I know. But Metroid's a mascot-driven game.
That's not Sandy Duncan with the weird eye?
Sandy Duncan. My favorite is when she took over Valerie's show and it became the Hogan family.
Yeah, fuck that. Hogan's family. Hulk Hogan's family would have been better. That was bullshit.
I retweeted something. Someone put out they said name one fan base that you feel sorry for, and the Iron Sheik tweeted out the Hulkamaniacs.
I love you, Iron Sheik.
I had to retweet. I'm like, excellent dig, like in all caps, by the way. Like,
yeah, I love Iron Sheik. He's the best.
So, but these are mascot-driven games. Donkey Kong obviously is an animal mascot, but Metroid would be. Halo's a mascot. You have a character whose image is being tied around the vision of that game.
And I heard I think he's a master chef from what I've read.
Right.
His name is Master
No
Chef.
Grand Theft Auto game, as fun as the characters are in the writing, is a mascot-driven game. They're not building Grand Theft Auto around the reoccurrence of this one character throughout every game they change.
Yeah.
So, given that these games are largely made up of, inconsequential I don't know, like open world type scenarios, designing your own just makes it more you, right? Which you would sort of become the template. You are supposed to be the mascot in that sense.
I liked how Rockstar did it though, because they were like Red Dead the online modes of Red Dead and Grand Theft Auto. That's when you become you, and then they had really good actors playing those parts, and that the characters looked like the actors, and they were good. So I bought into that one, but
it's a cowboy hat guy. You could have made your own Western person. It's irrelevant. Like, I just think like we're in an age now where if they're going to take 7 years to make a new fucking game, let us design a character. Like, it's not hard, man. Like,
no, I usually I'm completely on board with that.
It's not Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Even then, if you want to design a stupid looking Spider-Man and it be your own Spider-Man, why not? Like, just make all the PR based around the default Spider-Man outfit. Like, but it doesn't ruin the IP. It makes people have more fun.
Where I was going with it, like the point I was going to make, like overall with it, was that if Kyle Katarn and Dash Bendar and the scripts for Dark Forces 1 and 2, if all that shit burned in a fire tonight and was lost to time, I really wouldn't give two fucks. Like, I don't think that Star Wars gaming has ever actually offered anything of any lasting value of a character I've given a shit
about.
Even
Star Killer, which was objectively a mascot-based game. You got a guy named Star Killer. He'll be this dude who was the secret apprentice of Darth Vader, it's funny, we already got the secret apprentice of Anakin. Now we got whatever, fine. But even that doesn't stick. No one goes, man, need the Adventures of Star Killer as a series. I
don't think that the Knights of the Old Republic is garbage. I do think it's severely overrated. I really, really, truly do. Like, even when it came out,
it's pop. Yeah,
when it came out,
I can't disagree with that.
And when it came out, I also thought it was kind of a buggy mess.
It was good Star Wars at a time when the movies weren't cutting it for a lot of people.
Yeah,
and so it gets elevated way up there because of that.
Yeah. It just becomes like, I don't know. It's like when somebody leaves a band and everybody's like, oh, that guy was the best, but really he wasn't. The band just started sucking. And for you, and
I don't know, man. Phil Collins wants to disagree with you. Or I agree with. No, I guess he agreed with you. You're right. Never mind.
Yeah.
I really wanted the Final Fantasy Star Wars game with the crazy anime hair and the over-the-top lightsabers. Like that's the one I wanted.
They didn't take it that far. I would be really, really appreciative of a traditional Star Wars role-playing game like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know, even in Dragon Quest, for me, it's not the absurdity of the character design that makes it like special for me personally. It's just the ability to exist in a world that is pleasant and fun and that you want to explore, with a combat system that's chill and flowing. I mean, those kind of things for me, like that's what makes it like work. Like there was this one rip-off Dragon Quest. I don't know if it's a rip-off, but it was like something Dragon something. It was on Xbox 360 probably.
Dragon's Blue.
Yeah, I had a good time with that one. It was just like
Blue Dragon. Sorry,
Blue Dragon. Yeah, Blue Dragon. It was just a good time.
I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Well, it's because it's Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, again teaming up with Akira Toriyama, and putting together a solid 3-4 star JRPG.
Yeah.
Strong art direction.
What's like strange about the modern time versus 2012, what we thought we were going to get was everything getting a Star Wars rendition, them throwing Star Wars on everything, and there being too much of it all the time. And you can make an argument we have had too much of it at the moments for sure. But on one hand, I feel like they've in some ways been really guarded with it. But then we got like Star Wars Visions where I'm like, okay, there's one thing of them trying to rectify that, I think, to some extent.
The thing they need to do right now, in my eyes, to save the sequel trilogy is to hire Way Forward or Demu, the guys doing the new Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Revenge of the Shredder game or whatever that's called, to do a new Super Star Wars style, Super Force Awakens, Super Last Jedi, and Super Rise of Skywalker trilogy one pack. Like, side-scrolling pixels with the 3 characters and over-the-top fights, and I know, sexy Jason. So
Roxanne.
That is why. Just put that out. Put the 3-pack, fucking pixel art, fucking over-the-top, fucking whatever, multiplayer co-op battles and shit. Like a cool little like 2D fighting mode where you could like Street Fighter a little bit, all the fucking characters and shit. Yeah. With that's the kind of fun that doesn't require 4 years to make, that could win over nostalgia like a motherfucker. Everyone on the Switch would want one. I mean, you would win so many hearts and minds. And with the sequel trilogy, the thing that is contentious with people would fucking eat Kylo Ren and the shit up, and you use the Knights of Ren and just all the fucking characters. Make fun with it. And it's, again, when I hear David Cage is making a Star Wars game, I'm like, it's gonna take itself way too serious. Way too serious,
Yeah.
And we didn't get Ragtag. That's a shame. Fucking EA.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's a weird time to be a Star Wars fan. It definitely is. And
you imagine putting Solo and like you can like unlock all the characters from the other movies. You can get Jyn Erso, K2 as with a Han Solo, fucking Lando. Like, you could do DLC packs based around the other. You don't have to make a full game, but like a good boss run of the other movies and shit.
Yeah. Do you think when they were coming up with Jyn Erso, they were just like, it rhymes with Han Solo? Do you think they were just like rhyming shit with existing Star Wars names?
I think about this all the time, given that you have Rey Sloane in the books and Rey Skywalker, and then in that Duel of Fates there was Salone and Saloni in the same fucking movie. I'm like, sir, you guys, this is like, you could do better, right? This is not hard. Like
Martin Palpatine.
He's got a real annoying fucking girlfriend. Tisha Campbell is my hero of that show. She really is. And when I found out later that he was a real asshole to her, I'm like, I love that she fucking, my favorite part of, well, not my favorite part of Little Shop.
On acid though, and it was on the DN News. That was pretty cool.
I forgot about that.
That was cool.
Yeah, forgot about that. But that
That
happened.
that part made it all worthwhile for me. But yeah, I mean, it's I man, see, Kathleen Kennedy, like on one hand, I completely understand where everybody's coming from on that and Lucasfilm of the last like 10 years. You know what I mean? Like I totally like understand it. I even agreed to some extent. I also feel like you could throw out the baby with the bathwater kind of situation where what replaces Kathleen Kennedy when that time comes worries me
Kevin
more.
Feige, he'll solve all the problems.
Yeah, Kevin Feige's too busy wearing stupid looking hats like he's Dave Filoni, but they have like the Eternals written on the top or something.
Appreciate that it's a ball cap. Like the only thing I think would be great is if you got one of those old, like, you know, the Andy caps, like the newsboy caps, like he started wearing that shit. It bugs me when guys like Raimi and them dress up like they're fucking mobsters and they wear the fucking, like, you know, when he gets the fucking full fedora and
yeah.
that shit's annoying.
I saw something with like Tim Burton wearing like a beret or some shit the other day.
Oh yeah, he wore that. And he's been wearing that since the 80s.
Yeah, no, and I was like, dude, if you're not Samuel L. Jackson, you get your ass kicked doing that. And then I thought about my double standard, and I was like, you know what though? I love a cute little chick in a beret. You know what I mean? Like if like a lady's doing it, I'm like, oh, look at you.
To be fair, he was more feminine in the 80s. He's just become old.
Yeah, it's just. Oh no, James is bringing up fedoras. Yeah, you got the guitar. You get a pass with the guitar. I always say. You know, like for instance, if you see somebody beating the shit out of something, you're like, whoa, what's that? What's going on, buddy? Calm down. But if they're doing it with the guitar, it's fucking cool now, right? I mean, that's the way I take it. Like if you do a Kylo Ren in front of your friends on something, you're a little bitch. But if you do it with the guitar, now you're Kurt Cobain. It's just it's the way it goes. So
wait, look, if Feige showed up with like flannel tied around his waist, you know, like, cool. And like the Kid and Play fucking or the Vanilla Ice fucking buzz cut, you'd be like, this fucking dick. He just wears a ball cap.
I'd be like, I love this.
If he were a WB, he'd be wearing a Warner Brothers ball cap, and then that would be, you know, awesome.
You know, he probably puts that hat on and he's like, at least I'm not like those fucking dorks wearing those Hawaiian shirts, whatever the fuck the Pixar assholes wear.
If any mistake he's made with those hats is that whenever he's promoting Thor, it should be the hat with the little lightning bolts on the side, like from the 80s.
Yeah, like Adventures in Babysitting, like the one that the little girl wears.
The kids before that, it was the Edison twins.
The Edison twins?
The Edison twins, yes. It was a Canadian show from the late 70s, early 80s that ran on Disney Channel. That kid had the hat with the two lightning bolts on the side.
Oh, okay. Oh,
because I'm that old.
That kid got murdered by the guy who murdered Johnny Gosh. I just made that up. I don't know. I have no idea.
Stuffed in a barrel, Jimmy Hoffa. Like, all right.
Did you ever see like that documentary about that Johnny Gosh kid that goes missing? That one is like, that's like a super. That one's fucking super creepy. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I want to say yeah, but I don't recall it. But I do remember watching.
It's so fucked up because the mom gets letters like
right.
And you're just like, what? It's so fucked up. Like,
yeah.
If it's real, it's fucked up, and if it's fake, it's fucked up. It's fucked up.
Yeah, I remember the mom getting the letters, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? You know, like,
and then
either someone's really fucked up.
People accuse her of writing them. It goes, and then we're like, whoa, that's fucked up. It's just fucked up. But yeah. Well, anyways, I think we've talked about the Star Wars news of the day. I'm on to child murder now. So I think that's usually when the show is over.
Hey, look, you can't. It's like, if you're gonna bring up the '80s, it's kind of intrinsically tied in to the whole era. Yeah. So I just think, you know, we can all agree we just want to know what we're supposed to be expecting as fans. And I do blame them. They wanted a rabid fan base that consumes all knowledge and is continually engaged in their media like it's a sports season. They wanted this. Every studio wanted this. They wanted that level of engagement with YouTube views and social media. And if you want that, then you have to provide the content.
Then some people wanted to get hired at the company to chastise it.
Yeah, now they're like, no, we're above it now. We don't do that. We only announce things when we're ready. You know, like,
we're
shut up, man.
Jedi in white cloaks just like us up here in our ivory tower.
Look, man, what if they all got fedoras for the fucking High Republic?
For Indiana Jones. No, it's Indiana Jones here. Everybody wears a fedora. If not, get the fuck out of Lucasfilm.
It's the Fedora Republic. It's that one period of Star Wars where they all wear hats and you're like, dicks.
Fedora the Explorer. Here we go. Star Wars the game says, correct me if I'm wrong, but The Last Jedi had more connections to the expanding universe than any other Star Wars film. Due to Rian Johnson working with the story group, possibly? I don't know. I honestly don't remember what all of the connections are to the expanded universe at this point. If we're talking like visual, like journals and stuff like that, like the printed materials, or if we're talking like the stuff like what was the one, Bloodline, like the book Bloodline and stuff like that. That stuff right there was a total thing of him being at Lucasfilm and actually being immersed in it. Somebody one time told me that he was like the cool professor in college. That's what they said. Working with Rian Johnson was like his office door was open, man. You know what I mean? That was and I think that's like ultimately probably a really good thing, because that I would say is, you know, when people are writing novels and stuff like that, like it's kind of weird. You see there's an agency that like a novelist has when they're in like a little writing club, and those writing clubs are what give us stuff like Fight Club and really interesting books that come out of those groups. And they're kind of recreating that in a little bit of the college atmosphere as well, with how peer review happens and stuff like that. And those things aren't bad. I think they're being twisted though right now into looking like it's something bad when ultimately it's actually for the better. It ultimately ends up helping out. It ends up making somewhat of a coherent voice, because if you gave somebody in 1990 Star Wars to go make a Star Wars film and give it to somebody in 2014 Star Wars, those things still have to be consistent, and they honestly wouldn't be if you just gave it to a random filmmaker in 2014 and 1985. It's just not how it would be, and they have to make that happen somehow. And so I don't think that they are doing it necessarily wrong structurally. And I don't think that we should expect too much from a corporation that is making a film franchise. It's always going to be a little bit stupid and a little bit shitty and a little bit frustrating to some degree, I think. And if it wasn't the case,
unlimited control is what, if unlimited creative control is what gave us Wonder Woman 84, and having studio notes gave us Wonder Woman, I will take the studio notes. Studio notes aren't bad. They're not always some fucking dude trying to ruin your fucking your high. You know, there are great studio notes. There are times when you get direction. I've had great art directors, and I've had this dude. you know? And so I'm just looking at the talent on board, and I'm like, you know, Wonder Woman 3 will be the real example of what we missed or didn't miss, you know, because that's their chance to fix whatever nonsense. Because I gotta tell people, it's the only bad actual bad movie I've seen this year was Wonder Woman 84. I was like, this is not, if had this come out, there wasn't a pandemic and this had just gone to theaters, this would have tanked the second week, bro. Like, just bam, you know. So I would, just guessing, you know, don't Iron Sheik, don't get mad at me, but maybe it's gonna make
Patty Jenkins into a little bit of Hulkamaniac in this instance, and she's gonna really, because she really did fuck up that last Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
And losing Star Wars, if that's true, if it is true, there's always the chance that this isn't true too. It probably is true,
but that's absolutely, we have no insight now. We're just assuming a lot of fucking things.
As far as I know, there hasn't been like an internal like thing. Hey, everybody, so you know, if you see Patty Jenkins on the property, get the dogs because she's gone.
Did you say there was a landing page for this still? Like, did you say?
I suggested that people watch those. Like Ryan Johnson's is up. The Game of Thrones guys were taken down. The Lego guys stuff was taken down. Ryan Johnson stuff never got taken down. The Patty Jenkins stuff is probably still up though.
That's probably the safest, sanest advice I've had for all of this is watch the landing page, because once that's gone, I mean, they'll.
and I also think that it's worth, on that note of that, is it could literally just be Dan Brooks going, you know, we should take that page down because it's we're not doing that. Yeah, and then they get to it.
And you know how we have the 501st as a legion of fans that dress up and start cosplay, right? We should have the 404th, which is all the directors have been canned. They've been canned. Their page don't work.
If you can see this right here, StarWars.com/Darth Maul Secrets. Is that still up? I wonder.
Oh, is it? Is Darth Maul Secrets still up?
StarWars.com/Darth Maul Secrets. They probably went, you know what? He's not Darth Maul anymore. That URL is not in canon. Fucking get rid of it. Kathy Kennedy comes down from her office. What the fuck are you guys doing embarrassing the IP like
he's a Horndashian now, whatever his fucking race is.
He's a Horn Daddy. He's a Darth Horn Daddy. But all right, guys, we've done it. We've said it all. I think this is the last I ever want to talk about. Give Kathleen Kennedy what she's up to, what she's all about. I think there's no more to be said about her. I think we said it all.
Darth Maul Secrets has joined the 404th.
No, but it's on a poster.
I like joining the 404th, man. This I like. Yeah. I like this.
May the force be with you too, Mr. Game. Star Wars and Game, Mr.
It's
Game.
A long acronym. Myth. I can just see some elderly person who doesn't know what those myth with.
And after dating for a couple of years, I see FB and I just see friends with benefits. Anyways,
is that what that means? I have no idea.
Sometimes the people will message you that FB, and I'm like, ew, no.
Been married so long, I don't know.
You're lucky. Don't do it. It's weird. Sometimes people are stinky.
Oh no.
Bye, guys.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.
It's not about spaceships.
Nothing played. Nothing played.
Nothing played. No.